Hi, and welcome to the Spirit of Inquiry. Here we talk about space exploration, new technologies in the field, and the earthly benefits we can enjoy thanks to pushing on that final frontier. Have you ever wondered or had a conversation with someone, what is the whole point of going into outer space? What good is it that we have landed on the moon or sent astronauts to the International Space Station for the rest of us down here? Having high-resolution pictures from Mars sure is fun and inspiring, but it kind of does not solve world hunger, right? Could these millions and billions of dollars be spent better on solving earthly problems, of which we surely have enough here and now? Let's explore that. You might be surprised to learn that you probably use space technology every day and do not even realize that. On our way, we might find that these ventures do help everyday people in their everyday lives. The first exemplary piece of technology probably sits right now in front of your eyes. In the old days, glasses, as the name suggests, were made of glass. It is heavy and therefore uncomfortable to wear. The place where the glasses sit on the nose can get easily wounded through that weight. Not only that, should you get hit with something like at work or doing sports, the lens would shatter and send tiny shrapnels directly into your eye. Because glass was too heavy and too brittle to be used as a helmet for astronauts, there had to be developed a new kind of material, and plastics like polycarbonate were found to have the necessary properties. Additionally, it can be worked on more easily than conventional glass, so it could be molded into desirable shapes like big domed helmets for the astronauts. But there was one catch. These plastic lenses were frustratingly easily scratched. NASA developed a way to coat the lenses with thin carbon film with diamond-like properties. The resulting material was tough enough to be used in space helmets for astronauts and aerospace equipment. After that development, glasses manufacturers adopted to the novelty. By replacing glass with plastics, they could offer a vastly superior product that was safer, lighter, and could serve its main purpose much better than before. Exactly because plastics are easier to work on than glass, the optics could be more personalized and resulted in better vision aid. As an added bonus, it offers extra protection from UV light. Thus, humans can enjoy better vision in later stages of life. So, what was the impact on the population put in a more statistical view? The Vision Council of America claims that about 75% of adult Americans use vision aid, where 64% wear glasses and 11% contact lenses. Extrapolating on the entire world population, that would mean 4 billion people. Just imagine how great of an impact that had on the well-being of people all around the world. Vision impairment or loss is one of the more crippling disabilities. Ranging from job loss to alienation from your environment and depression, the effects of vision loss can be enormous. Another potential life-saving technology has been in development since the very early days of space exploration. Have you ever thought about how astronauts get their drinking water out there? The cost of launching a single liter of fresh water to the International Space Station varies widely with the kind of rocket you use. The now obsolete but iconic space shuttle would cost you $55,000 for a single liter of water. For this reason, astronauts go to great lengths to minimize their water usage. Showering is not a daily routine, not that it is all that easy in conditions of microgravity. For water-saving measures, there is no washing machine on board. An average human uses about 130 liters of water a day. The astronauts reduced that to no more than 50 a day. Assuming that hefty launching price of $55,000 a liter, a single man would cost you almost $3 million in water costs a day. Even governmental agencies cannot afford such ridiculous sums. A recycling system needed to be developed so almost every drop can be used again and again. Techniques to achieve that are widely used almost everywhere. Water desalination plants pump seawater and in the process of inverse osmosis turn some of it into drinkable water. It basically uses pressure to force water molecules out of seawater and push them across the membrane, leaving concentrated brine on the one side and fresh water on the other. Not very surprisingly, the desert nation of Saudi Arabia is, as of the time of writing this episode, the largest producer of desalinated water in the world. Without that technology, water supply constraints wouldn't allow for further growth of the country's population. So, unless you have been living under a rock for the last 30 years, you have heard about this thing called climate change. And unless you have not been reading the news this summer, we have been dealing with a lot of record-breaking droughts this year. Just look at the images of rivers drying up all across the world, like Colorado River in the United States or German Rhine. Those rivers supply drinking water to millions of people. If we cannot count on a steady supply of such a basic necessity like fresh water, our civilization will be in a world of hurt in the coming decades. Only about 0.5% of the Earth's total water is available fresh water. So, when nature cannot keep providing us with enough water, we need to start producing it ourselves. One of the possible ways to increase that number is to use that new technology and turn seawater into usable freshwater. Finally, let's ask the important question that might have been on your mind this whole time. Couldn't all of these things be simply developed without all of the hassle of going to space? Well, yes and no. Sure, there was nothing fundamental stopping anyone from developing better glasses or water treatment systems before space exploration kind of forced us to think of innovative solutions. But imagine what kind of reasoning would glasses manufacturers need to go through to develop new materials. Research and development is a very costly and risky affair. Why go through the pain when you have a good working product that sells really well? Convincing the board of directors to spend $1 billion on a project that might not necessarily work out is not an easy task. Could several companies team up? Sure, but as any cooperative work, that may take a long time. Or different parties disagree on the details. Or one of them drops out during the project. Space environment forced NASA to just swallow the bitter pill and do what needed to be done. This is why they say necessity is the mother of invention. In the case of water desalination, the situation is a bit different. Water shortages were not as acute in the 50s and 60s when the project took place, especially not in the context of climate change. I think it is fitting to think about it as an unintended consequence. NASA developed a new technology, and decades later, it turned out to be a very important piece of the climate change puzzle. For me, it is a valuable lesson about long-term thinking. Some developments may not have an immediate use case, but later turn out to be crucial. Next time we will again talk about inventions that stem from the projects associated with space exploration. But this time we'll focus more on a recently quite hot topic of electric vehicles and energy storage. Till next time.